Chris Snow here with the Florida Coastal team. People are moving every single day to the Jacksonville, Florida area. And actually, if you look at the stats, the city of Jacksonville is one of the fastest growing cities in the state of Florida. But there are a ton of people that are also moving from Jacksonville. People are moving out on a daily basis. And I wanted to figure out, why is that happening? Why are people moving from the Jacksonville area? So that's what we are going to explore in this video. So stick with us till the end, and we're going to tell you the number one reason why I think people are moving from Jacksonville and where they're moving to. Hi, my name's Chris Snow with the Florida Coastal team, and my team and I, we get calls, texts, and emails every day from folks just like you who are looking to relocate to the Jacksonville, Florida area, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're looking at making a move in the next few days, the next few weeks, the next few months, just give us a call, send us a text, send us an email. You could actually book a private Zoom call. All of our contact information is right below, and we'd love to help you with that smooth move here to the Jacksonville, Florida area. All right, so as we stated in the opening, we're going to be talking about why people are moving from Jacksonville, and we're going to get after it right now. All right, so some of the reasons why people are moving from the Jacksonville area. We work with a lot of sellers. We sell a lot of homes. We list a lot of homes. We also work with a lot of buyers who are relocating in and moving into the Jacksonville area. But the number one thing that we try to always find out from people is, why are they moving? Why are they selling? So what I'm going to give you are some of the reasons why people are moving from the Jacksonville area, and some are moving out of Florida altogether. And the reason why we're making this video is to help those folks that are moving in and moving from an area that they've never been to before, and they may not know a lot about Jacksonville. And we would rather, if they are committed and they have to move to this area, to kind of give them a heads up of, hey, what are you going to experience when you get here? And if they're on the fence and they're not sure whether Jacksonville is a place that they want to move to or not, this will help give them some additional information, and they may make the decision that, I don't want to move to Jacksonville. And that's okay. That's all right. All right, let's start with the weather. If you watch some of our pros and cons videos, I did a pros and cons of Jacksonville, Florida. One of the things that we talk about is the weather. And we said that 9.5 months a year, it's really good weather, but that 2.5 months, it's bad. I mean, it is hot. We are in the middle of it right now. So if I look at the next 10 days forecast, just, look here, my highs today, 93, 97, 96, 97, 90, 91, 93, 95, 96, 97. And that's going to be with about 80% humidity every single day. So what that's going to lead to are these big, massive afternoon showers. Every afternoon, about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, you're going to get this ominous weather that's pulling in, and you're going to swear that you are in the middle of a hurricane. You're not in a hurricane. This is just traditional Jacksonville weather. What we get every afternoon is these big, massive thunderstorms, lots of lightning, lots of thunder. They roll through. They're gone in about 30 minutes. Lots of water everywhere. You'll get some flooding. The streets will fill up really fast because we get this flash flooding. You get so much water in a short period of time. In certain cases, they're shutting streets down. You can't cross through. You got to wait for just a little bit for that water to go out. And then once all that water is gone, and the sun comes back out, it is super hot, it is super humid, and it's stifling, right? So that's one of the reasons why I think people, it's a shock when they get here and they haven't experienced it. If they have pets, the pets are freaking out a little bit. And most people, when they move to this area, they're more worried about the hurricanes, but the hurricanes don't come very often, and you have plenty of time to get prepared for those. And more times than not, the hurricanes bypass us. Very rarely have we ever had and sustained a direct hit here to Jacksonville. It could happen, but that hasn't been the history. More of the flooding and stuff like that we get are from the afternoon showers, from our summer showers. So that's one of the reasons why people are just saying, you know what, enough's enough. Now, with that heat, as I said, we're not going to get below 95 for the next 10 days. We're right here towards the end of July. And, when they talk about the dog days of August here in Jacksonville, it's the dog days of the end of July, the dog days of August, and the dog days of half of September. So we're going to keep and repeat this pattern over and over and over again for about 2.5 months. So if you don't like having that afternoon thunderstorm, if you don't like that humidity, hey, Jacksonville's going to be a rough place. Anywhere in the South is going to be a rough place for you, because all over Florida, it's the same weather pattern. I can tell you what's going to happen in Central Florida, West Florida, South Florida. It's all in the same pattern that we repeat, and it doesn't matter whether you're in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Texas, Louisiana. It's all the South. That's our typical summertime forecast, and it's not going to change. Now, one thing with those afternoon thunderstorms is you're going to get high winds. We'll have wind gusts, and they call them microbursts, right? You have these wind gusts of 50, 60 miles an hour. Trees are bending, tree limbs are breaking. It feels like and looks like you're in a tornado, but you're not. It's just heavy wind pressure that comes through. We will get some tornado warnings, but they're nowhere near as common as what you're going to find, in the Midwest. But we do get the tornado warnings. But that wind that's blowing and it's whipping around, again, you're going to have those 50, 60 mile an hour wind gusts, and it's going to go for about 20, 30 minutes, and then it's going to be gone. That comes in, goes out, goes very quickly, dumps a lot of water, creates a lot of flooding in certain yards, especially these newer neighborhoods. What happens is the builder doesn't do a great job of drainage, so you end up having to come in after the fact when you see all the puddling in your yard and create these troughs or French drains to get that water out of your yard. So again, it's just one more reason why people are like, hey, this is just, I don't want to have to deal with this. Now, again, I said we get a lot of people moving from like New York and New Jersey and Massachusetts, Connecticut. They're moving down here because, they want to escape the high taxes, the high costs of living, all those things that they are leaving those areas for, and they're coming to Florida. They get here and they're not used to the heat. And I've lived in the Northeast. I lived there for just a short period of time. Summers are amazing. The summer humidity, you may have a day or two that it gets humid, it gets a little bit hot. But for the most part, there's not nearly as much humidity. When they get down here, it becomes stifling. And so we talk to people as they're moving out. They're like, yeah, this is just too hot. We need to go further north, and we call it halfback. So they move from the Northeast, they come to Jacksonville, they stay a couple years, and then they move halfway back to the Northeast. So they're not battling the snow in the heavy winter, but they have a little bit more milder climates. They still have to deal with the higher cost of living, the higher taxes, but they would rather do that than deal with the heat down here. If this is your first time to the channel, hey, make sure you click subscribe, tap the bell for notifications so you'll be the first to know of everything that's going on here in the Jacksonville, Florida market. So if you want to know what it's like to live, eat, breathe here in the Jacksonville area, just click on that subscribe button and tap that bell for notifications, and you'll be alerted immediately when we drop a new video. So what people are finding in moving from Jacksonville is that their cost of home ownership, not only just buying the property, acquiring the property, our housing prices have gone up quite a bit, but just owning the property, the actual cost of ownership of owning a property in Jacksonville has gone up. We're going to go over some things like the homeowners insurance, the property taxes, your electric bills, water bills, those types of things. So the next thing, why people are moving from Jacksonville, and actually it's a Florida epidemic, is that the homeowners insurance, or what people call hazard insurance, it is a mess right now. And for the last 3 or 4 years, carriers, especially when other parts of the state of Florida have been hit by hurricanes, carriers have been losing billions of dollars insuring properties here in Florida because of the hurricanes that have hit and stuff like that. So what have we seen? We've seen our hazard insurance and our homeowners insurance rates skyrocket. And a lot of homeowners are just getting left with the bag where their carrier just says, hey, we're out. We're gone, right? And now all of a sudden someone's scrambling around trying to find a new homeowner's policy. And because there are fewer carriers, those prices are escalating up. And I like my homeowner's insurance in the last 2 years has gone up, and it's almost doubled. I was at like $1,600, $1,700. I'm paying almost $3,400 for the same homeowner's insurance, the same policy as I had a couple years ago. Now, the good thing with that is that the state has recognized that this is a problem. There's legislature that has just passed, and it went into effect July 1. The downside is it's not going to be immediate. We're not going to get that immediate relief. What we are going to see is that over the next 12 to 18 months is we will start to see some relief. Those companies that have left the state of Florida or companies that have stayed out of Florida are going to start to come back in because there's going to be a little bit more favorable conditions for those carriers to come back into the state. Again, our state legislator did a good job. It took them a long time, but they did a good job of identifying some of the biggest reasons why these policies and why carriers were leaving and giving them some incentives to come out. And it's common sense stuff. So it's not a one size or one way. It's all in favor of the insurer. It's actually going to be a balance between the insured and the insurer. Another reason why people are leaving Jacksonville are going to be for the property taxes. Now, Property taxes in Jacksonville are a lot better than other areas, again, from those areas in the Northeast, California, Illinois, Washington State. All of those places are high property tax, but for the local area here, Jacksonville, the property taxes are pretty high. It's almost 2%, in some cases about 2.1, 2.2%, depending on where you're at in Jacksonville. If you are buying for a primary residence, there are a lot of advantages that you have with your property taxes because they cannot go up by more than 3% in a one-year period. But if you've got an investment property in Jacksonville, it is subject to the market. So and we've seen housing prices go up almost 55% over the last 3 years. So if you had a house that was worth, $200,000 a couple of years ago, and it's not a primary residence, it does not qualify for that homestead exemption, what you're going to find is your property tax bill is most likely double, because what the county wants to do is they want to go back and make sure that they're getting every tax dollar that they can. So the first thing that they focus on are those non-owner occupied units, and they want to go ahead and reassess them at what current market values are. So they want to escalate those values as fast as they possibly can. Now, as a consumer, if you feel like, hey, that's wrong, you can go back and fight your property taxes. So it's not just I've just got to live with it. You can fight the property taxes, but there's a process that goes into that, and you'll just have to check with the county on what that looks like. It is something that you can get some relief from. It's just going to take a little bit of a process for you to figure that out and go through that. There are some companies that will help you fight your property taxes. It'll cost you a little bit of money, but it may save you some as well. All right, so our electric bills, like everything else, over the last couple of years, the cost of inflation has gone up, and it's really hit us hard here in Florida. Normally, during the summer, in my own personal house, my electric bill will get to about $210, maybe $220. Not too bad, but it's still kind of high. My winter electric bills are about $70, $80. Once we get beyond the hottest part of summer and we get into the fall, we get some relief from the electric bills. So, again, I'll go back to about $130, $140 starting sometime the end of September, early October, up until about January when the winter bills start coming in. Now, during that summer months, over the last couple of months, and we were gone for about 3 weeks during this, so far this summer, even with us being gone, our electric bills have been averaging over $300 a month. Why? Because it's so stinking hot, right? As I said, this July, late June and early July, the month of July has just been hot. We get hot every day, we get the showers, and then we get more heat and humidity. So our AC is constantly running. Now, the fortunate thing is that we're not too far from the ocean, so we get some of that sea breeze so that by the late afternoon, early evening, we do come down in temperature some, but that electric bill, and that AC is going to be running all day long. So again, our cost of ownership, our cost, to maintain temperature in our house so that we're not just sitting there sweating on the couch, it goes up. So again, one more reason why people are leaving is that, they're trying to escape the heat, trying to escape some of those higher electric bills. Now, along with the electric bill comes the water bill. Most people, a lot of homeowners associations in Jacksonville. So most people are living in some sort of an association. Those associations have minimum requirements to make sure that your yard is not dying and it's not dead, that it's, in a presentable nature, right? They don't want the house to look distressed. So in order to run and make sure that your yard is always looking good, if we're not getting afternoon showers, you're going to have to run your water. So you're going to have to run your sprinkler. And if you do not have a well, your water bill will go up because now all of a sudden you are having to pay water and sewage to water your yard. So Jacksonville water bills, if you're in a homeowners association and you do not have a well during the summertime or anytime we're having a drought and you're having to put a lot of water on there, you'll see that water bill spike back up. I've got a quick question for you, and I want you to put it down in the comments. If you are considering moving to Jacksonville from another area, tell me what is it about where you are right now, where you're living, why you are thinking about moving. Is it job relocation? Is it high taxes? What is the reason why you are moving for it? Put that down in the comments. Would love to find out why people are moving from where they are and why they are considering moving to Jacksonville. Other reasons why people are moving away. Incomes are higher in other big cities. Now, the overall cost of living in Jacksonville is a little bit less, but because it's less, people are paying less. Average income for the same job in Jacksonville is a lot less than if you were in Atlanta or Orlando or somewhere up in the Northeast. They have those cost of living adjustments. And so what you'll find is that people want to go and get that higher income, so they will move out of Jacksonville so that they can get that higher income. Another reason why people are leaving the Jacksonville, Florida area, and if you look at niche.com and you look at the school grades, overall, school grades are a B according to niche.com, but that's not every area of Jacksonville. So parts of Jacksonville have really good schools. Parts of Jacksonville have, struggling and failing schools. So depending on where you are, if you're not in a good school zone, people are going to move to where those good school zones are. And again, according to niche, overall it's a B. So there are some really good ones according to that publication, but there are some areas that aren't nearly as good. So people will move to where those good school zones are. The other thing that people will find is that if you look at niche as well, the crime rate in Jacksonville is higher than the surrounding areas, and in some cases, it's a little bit higher than other big cities its size. So if crime rate, if that's something that's important to you, check out niche.com. They'll give you all the details on that. And so again, if that's a major issue for you, make sure you look at that publication. They do a good job of breaking that down. The next thing that people will look at is that when they come to Jacksonville, they don't realize how big this city is. Now, Jacksonville goes back and forth with Houston as like one of the biggest land area cities across the United States. So they're the two biggest cities in the United States, not population-wise, but just land-wise. So that means if you're on one side of Jacksonville and you want to get to the other side of Jacksonville, it may take you an hour. Now, it's not because there's tons and tons of traffic. We don't have nearly as much traffic as some of the other big cities. It's just a long way to go. And so with that, you kind of have this urban sprawl. So you've got these new communities that are popping up and giving you further and further away from things. And so if you need to get to downtown or you want to get to the beach and you're on the clear other side of town, it may take you 45 minutes or an hour to get there. And if you need public transportation, there's not nearly as much public transportation as you would think, because there's not as many people going downtown. So everybody kind of stays in their little suburbs and the little areas of Jacksonville. So you don't have like major areas. You do have the bus system and you can get an Uber and stuff like that, but you don't have like with Atlanta and some of the other areas that have mass transit. Jacksonville just doesn't have that. All right, so one thing that you have to be prepared for, especially if you're coming from the Northeast, and again, I lived up there for a couple years. I tried to take my Florida attitude to the Northeast, and people were a little bit suspicious. So when people move from the Northeast and they're walking around their neighborhood and their neighbors are saying hello and everyone's friendly, what I found is that people from the Northeast, they look at that as a little suspicious. Like, hey, why are they talking to me? What's their angle? What are they trying to get out of me? And there's no angle. It's just that people are nice and people enjoy being here. And so they want to reach out and connect with their neighbors. And if that freaks you out, I'm sorry, the South just may not be the place for you, because we're all like that down here. All right. We're just hometown. We're friendly. We want to know our neighbors. We want to get to know folks. So if that kind of is freaky to you, if that's strange and you're wondering what kind of angle people are taking with you, again, this may not be the place for you. So what I think is the main reason why people are leaving Jacksonville, they're leaving for some of these other reasons as well. But when I look at the numbers and I study it and I see, okay, when do we have the influx of people? When do we have moving? Now, we always have people moving in, but we also have people moving out. Why are they moving out? Stay with me. I'm going to get to where are they moving to. The main reason why people are moving Jacksonville is that we are a military town with NAS Jacksonville and Mayport, our naval bases and naval stations right here. We constantly have new people that are transitioning in, and every 3 years, those people who have come in, they are moving out. They may love it here. This may be the place that they ultimately want to come back and retire to. And we do have a lot of people who try to make Jacksonville their last duty station, because if they came here earlier in their career, they want to make this their last duty station so they don't have to move again because they do love it. But a lot of people are going to be forced to move because of that job relocation. And with military being one of our major employers around town, every 3 years. When somebody is coming in, they're transitioning out, and that's happening typically, it's happening throughout the year, but normally during the summer and right during Christmas time, especially if those people have families. If they are going to be transitioning out of Jacksonville, they're going to want to do that during the summertime when the kids are out of school. They're going to want to do it during the Christmas break so that their kids have that transition time to get into the new school. But that is, to me, why I think more people are moving from the Jacksonville area. It's not because they don't like it. It's not because of the thunderstorms, the cost of living. Everywhere you go, there's going to be some reason why someone wouldn't want to live there. So for me, I think the majority of people who are leaving the Jacksonville area, it's job related more so than anything else. With that being said, military being the biggest employer that we have and why people are transitioning out. Now, I told you if you stuck with us till the end, I would tell you where are they moving to. A majority of the people who live in Jacksonville, start in Jacksonville, they move just a little south into St. Johns County, into St. Augustine. So what I want you to do is I want you to watch the pros and cons video that we did on moving to St. Augustine, Florida. So if you're considering Jacksonville and you think, okay, well, Jacksonville isn't my cup of tea. Where are people moving to? People are moving to St. Augustine. Watch this video right here, pros and cons of St. Augustine. If you found this video helpful, click on the like button and stick with us because we're going to show you the pros and cons of St. Augustine. Chris Snow with the Florida Coastal Team.